So, welcome to the session. We are on, I think, session 9 now of our study of Master Choa's book, Existence of God is Self-Evident. By the way, in the early session, I had talked about the power of this book. इस किताब की क्या शक्ति है, उनको थोड़ा सा डिस्कस किया था. And I had suggested a small experiment also for that. I don't know if you have actually done that experiment or not, but it is good to do that experiment. What was that experiment? You find a subject, किसी को भी, may be a pranic healer, may not be a pranic healer. उसकी इनर ऑरा को आप स्कैन कीजिए, उसकी स्पिरिचुअल कॉर्ड को स्कैन कीजिए, उसकी ऑरा में स्पिरिचुअल एनर्जी कितनी है वो आप स्कैन कीजिए, एंड देन यू गिव दैट पर्सन दिस बुक. Maybe the person reads it, doesn't read it, doesn't matter. Maybe the person just flips some pages, थोड़ा ऐसे ही पन्ने पलटे. And then after 2 minutes, you scan, while the person is holding the book, you scan the inner aura, the spiritual cord, and so on once again. And see if there is a difference. It's nice, it's good to, hear other people talk about, oh, this book is very powerful, oh, this book is very powerful. But आप खुद करके देखिए. आप खुद करेंगे ना, देन यू विल हैव दैट कन्विक्शन कि हाँ, यस, आई एम रियली रीडिंग अ पावरफुल बुक, एंड दैट दिस बुक शुड बी ट्रीटेड विद रिस्पेक्ट. In fact, I use this book when I'm traveling. Even if I'm not going for a pranic healing work, I will always carry the book with me. एंड पीपल टेल मी दैट उनको प्रॉब्लम आ रही थी, फिर वो बुक उनके पास थी तो उन्होंने खोला तो उनको ये देयर प्रॉब्लम गॉट सॉल्व्ड, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. नॉट सरप्राइजिंग. इफ योर इनर ऑरा विल ग्रो, इफ योर स्पिरिचुअल कॉर्ड विल ग्रो, देन यू गेट डिवाइन गाइडेंस ऑन सॉल्विंग योर प्रॉब्लम्स, है ना. तो ये करके देखिए आप. जस्ट ट्राई इट एंड सी. All right, let's come back to our book study. So we were in the middle of sutras. हमने देखा ये मास्टर की spiritual thesis है, और ये जो section अभी हम कर रहे हैं, इसमें मास्टर is explaining or he is giving us a map of the inner world. In his, एक मैप होता है ना, उसको आप, it tells you कि अब ये मिलेगा, अब ये होगा, अब ऐसा होगा, इसके आगे ये है, इसके आगे ये. So like that, master is giving us and he's telling us what are the spiritual experiences we may have, and then he's giving explanations. So as we will continue with our spiritual practices, we will find these maps useful. Now, the particular sutras we are in right now, इसमें, or the sutras just before, we had done sutra number 19 the last time. Their master introduced the concept, or he gave us the perspective that the celestial bodies, the planets, the stars, the suns, the galaxies, and so on, they have an energy perspective also. Like if you remember, आपने जब basic pranic healing course किया था, one of the first things you learned in that course, that this physical body has an energy counterpart, or your body can be seen not only from the physical perspective but also from the energy perspective. Similarly, now Master is telling us these celestial bodies, ये जो planets हैं, these, the suns and the stars and so on, they don't just have physical existence, there is an energy perspective also. Yeah. Okay, let's start reading from sutra number 20. During meditation, when the consciousness of the meditator just expands slightly, when he sees the solar system, he does not see planets revolving around the sun. He sees luminous lotus flowers revolving around the sun. So the initial response is, I hope the words being used here are quite simple. नहीं, if you would like to discuss any particular word, तो आप या तो type कर दीजिए chat में, तो we can discuss that. Like for example, luminous. Luminous means जो प्रकाश, जिसमें there's a lot of light, there is a lot of luminosity, something that has lot of light, है ना, रोशनी से भरा हुआ. And lotus flowers, कमल का फूल. The initial response is one of mild surprise. Without an explanation from a senior spiritual teacher, it is difficult to understand this inner experience. So master is now explaining this कि ऐसा क्यों दिखता है. I don't know if you have had this experience, but if you've had, then this is very helpful. If you've not had so far, don't worry. Sooner or later you will have, and then you can recall. Okay, this is what I was seeing. So now master explains what was being seen. Interpenetrating the physical planet is an energy planet which is rotating alternately clockwise and counterclockwise. Counterclockwise means anti-clockwise. The interactions of the subtle energy moving in clockwise and anti-counterclockwise motion produces an optical image of a planetary luminous lotus flower rotating around the sun. The energy planets are celestial whirling energy centers. What is an energy center? Chakra. है ना? So what, या चलो पूरा पढ़ते हैं, then we'll discuss it. The planetary luminous lotus flower is actually double-sided. One luminous lotus flower is facing the top and the other is facing the bottom, but the two of them are connected and joined as one. Somebody is giving me feedback that sound is not clear. Uh, is anyone else facing the same problem?
No, sir, it's clear.
Acha, so Mohini, you may need to check at your end.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so a little long sutra. So in when master talks about in quotation marks, he says energy planets. Energy planets means the physical planet has has an energy counterpart, like our physical body has an energy counterpart, and master says interpenetrating the physical planet is an energy planet. So same way we know for our physical body also कि जो energy body है वो उसके अंदर भी है बाहर भी है. It is inside also, outside also, and master uses the term interpenetrate in basic class, in the basic book also, for to explain. And he gives the example of sponge kept in a bucket of water. The water is inside the sponge and outside the sponge. So he is giving the same explanation for the celestial bodies. क्या बता रहे हैं कि उनकी भी एनर्जी बॉडी है. दे ऑल्सो हैव एनर्जी बॉडीज. So very interesting, because now when he makes, we understand energy, we understand energy body, aura, we understand chakras. Now when we get this insight that these celestial bodies also have energy body, also have chakras, then we get some insight because we know how chakras work, we know how energy bodies work. And later master will tell us, so I'll just say right now, it makes astrology more understandable. Because now you understand, okay, these planets have energy bodies. That means their influence is beyond the physical body. You know? So that's how we are able to understand that. So what master is explaining is that it's like, let me do it like this. So it's like a twisting thing. One part is moving like this, like this, and the other is moving like this. So clockwise and anti-clockwise. But they are sort of in between. I mean, they are like together in the same space. So, double-sided, master has said double-sided. So it's like they say, we are aware front heart chakra, back heart chakra, solar plexus, front solar, back solar, something like that. Correct? And the he says that it produces an optical image of a planetary luminous lotus flower rotating around the sun. You see something like this. Have you seen images of angels? Obviously, those images have been seen by clairvoyants, and then the artist has drawn them. So they are often shown with wings. Do they really have wings? So the explanation given is that is the same because they are rotating very fast. Their energy body or some chakras are rotating very fast. It gives the impression, it gives the optical illusion as if there are wings. Okay. So similarly, Master is saying why it looks like lotus flower because there are, there is these energy body and two parts are moving rapidly, clockwise, anti-clockwise, and it gives the impression of, or it seems like there is a lotus flower. It looks like that to a clairvoyant. What else can we talk about? Now, in theosophy, we learn more. We understand that these, for example, in our solar system, there is the sun god who we can see as the physical sun, but really his entire body, energy body, includes the planets, and the planets are like the chakras of the sun god. So the entire solar system is like the body of the solar logos or the solar god, and the planets are the chakras. Some people also say that on the earth, the planetary logos, the continents are like the chakras of the planetary god. Interesting theories. Master also, later we will read it, he gives an interesting theory. He says there also exist planets without physical body. There are some planets that science is aware of, but there are others which science is not aware of because they are at the etheric plane or at higher planes. There is no physical body. Now you may think, oh well, how does he know? Well, he knows through intuition. And should we trust that or not? So let me remind you, recently we talked about it in the previous session also. He had given this statement that creation is constant and ongoing. And now science is coming around to that. Recently, there is a new scientific theory which says that the Big Bang was not a single event, but there are many, many, many events. So why are these non-physical planets there? So you see, the invisible world is far more complex than the physical world. Even on the earth, if you understand angels, do angels have physical bodies? No, they have energy bodies. What about our, we believe that our ancestors are present but not in physical body, ancestors who have died. That's why we do ceremonies once a year. We offer them sacrificial gifts, and we give them we do prayer on their behalf and so on. Why do we do that? Because we believe that they are still available on the energy planes and on the earth. So, it is possible, if you can have beings without physical body on the earth, then why can you not have non-physical planets in the solar system? Okay. Now, one point, in the first part of the long sutra, Master says, when the consciousness of the meditator just expands slightly. So, why do we only experience this when consciousness expands? Now, my thinking is that the energy bodies of the celestial bodies, जो ये planets and so on, their energy bodies are beyond the normal planes of consciousness. So just keep in mind when we say the expansion, there is expansion of consciousness. The expansion is not in terms of physical space, but it means the consciousness is going to a higher or more subtle level. Now we are in tune, or we can be in tune with more refined vibrations, more refined or more subtle energies. Now, those planets, their energy bodies are at those levels. So, we are only able to see them when our consciousness expands. It's like you remember when you went to the basic class, You were made to see the energy body around your fingers. You were made to see the air prana, the ground prana, and maybe one of your classmates stood in front of the wall and you saw his or her inner aura. Yes, it took some effort before you were able to see it. Normally, we don't see it, but yes, with a little effort, you were able to see it. So that's what Master is saying, that when consciousness will expand. Now, it doesn't have to expand like greatly. You don't have to be a holy master. Even with slight expansion of consciousness, this happens. Okay, shall we move forward? In general, the moons, the planets, the suns and stars, the galaxies, the universes, and the maxi universe are celestial whirling energy centers or celestial chakras. They are spiritual energy transformers. This is the basis behind astrology and the basis for the science of cycles. Now there's a long footnote. Let's read that also. Based on the research of Dr. Joey P. Jones, Department of Radiological Sciences, University of California, Irvine, California. The acupuncture points are made up of two parts, the upper part and the lower part. These two parts are constantly moving in opposite directions. When the upper part is moving clockwise, the lower portion is moving counterclockwise, and this motion alternates from clockwise to counterclockwise. He called this the twisting motion. The major acupuncture points in the Indian tradition are called chakras, which mean whirling energy centers. So this has been picked from Master Choa's book, Super Brain Yoga. The page number is also given. So interesting, this Dr. Jones, he has done some very interesting research on pranic healing. So he was apparently a professor and a head of the department in an American university, and he came in touch with Master Choa. And I think under Master Choa's guidance, he did research. And I remember attending the World Pranic Healers conference in 2006. Master was in his body, and Master was present in his physical body. Dr. Jones presented his paper. And by the way, that paper is available, or a link to that paper is available on our Pranic Healing Society website. You go to www.phsj.in, and then I'll just share that page so you can. So you go to our website, phsj.in. On that, you click on About Us, and in that, the page that will come, there is a link there which says research, and when you click on that, you will get this, the last line here. This is the paper that Dr. Jones had presented in the World Pranic Healers Conference in 2006. This was in Mumbai, in Master's presence. Very, very interesting. I would strongly suggest, please take a look. Some of the findings are very, very interesting. I mean, because of shortage of time, I won't discuss that, but maybe we can do another session sometime just to discuss that. It has some really interesting and useful, if you're a healer and you have interest in healing, बड़ी उसमें काम की चीजें हैं, बहुत very interesting things in that. Yeah. All right. Let's move forward, or we can talk about some more things here. Just give me a moment. So this entire explanation that Master has, the footnote that we read, if you relate it to the previous sutra where Master talked about, what the planets look like, it's very very similar. So it reminds you of that principle of spirituality, as above so below. What happens in the planets happens in the chakras, and it also reaffirms that these planets also have chakras, or they are like chakras. And like I was telling you, there is this theory that the solar god, his body, energy body, the energy planets are the chakras in that. Yeah. This last part of the footnote. The job of the astronomers is to scientifically prove or disprove what MCKS has written. According to MCKS, energy planets also exist without the corresponding physical form. This is what I was telling you, that Master has given this theory that there are planets, but they don't have physical body. They have energy body only. Now you may say, okay, science doesn't accept. Okay, that's all right. Science may not accept. But like we are seeing, what Master has said about creation being continuous, now science is catching up. Similarly, I'm quite sure that maybe in 50 years, maybe in 100 years, science will validate this also. You see, you have to ask the question, when there is no evidence, physical evidence, how does Master say this? So you have to understand that these great, highly evolved souls, the holy masters, like Master we believe is a holy master, they are very, very highly evolved. So their intuition is very strong. The level from which they see reality is very different from ours. So they are able to get direct knowledge. And science will often lag behind, like this whole pranic healing thing. Now, scientists would not accept. But now, as we are, creating research and creating evidence, scientists will have no option but to accept it. Okay, then Master says the basis behind astrology and the basis for the science of cycles. So once you understand that different each planet is a chakra, and you know that each chakra has different energies, different functions, and so on. Now you can understand. You go to an astrologer and he says, "Tumhara shani kamzor hai," yeah, whatever. I don't go to astrologers. I am not fully familiar, but these are the kind of things I hear. Ki so and so planet is not strong or is weak or is giving you problems and so on. Now you can understand the influence of that. It has its own energy body, and that energy body affects your energy body. Yeah. And another part of the science of cycles, if you see, all of nature is controlled by cycles. There is the morning and then the afternoon, then the evening and then the day and so on. So there is the daily cycle, then there is a monthly cycle of the moon, then there is a cycle of the annual cycle, of seasons and the trip around the sun and so on. So all that. Another even bigger aspect of science of cycles are the yugas. Have you heard of the yugas? Satyug, Kalyug, Treta, Dwapar. That is also cyclical. But that is a cycle that is repeated once in 20,000 years. And later in one part in the book, in this book itself, Master will talk about that. Yeah. So now you see, with this explanation or with this introduction by Master Choa or this insight by Master Choa, now we can understand that celestial bodies have auras and chakras. Then we can easily see that yes, there must be differences in the quality and quantity of energy of each of them. And thereby their influences on us will also vary. Yeah. Okay, let's quickly do the next two sutras. Sutra number 22 and 23. Great spiritual beings, great spiritual teachers, and their disciples are spiritual energy transformers. Spiritual energy transformers are capable of stepping down or stepping up the energy. Spiritual energy transformers also qualify, modify, or transform the energy passing through them. So that's why, when we do an invocation, of course, we invoke to Supreme God, but we also say all the great spiritual elders, all the holy gurus, holy masters. Why? Because we benefit from that. When we connect to them, they are the ones who step down very, very high grade divine energy, which we cannot handle directly. They step it down. They are the transformers. You understand transformer? Transformer can step down or step up. And then Master is telling us they are not just mechanically transforming. They are also, Master says, qualify, modify, or transform. So what they seem to do is not just step it down like an electrical transformer does, but what they absorb, digest it, filter it, modify it, and then pass it onwards. It's possible that maybe, they also have ray types. You are aware of the theory of the seven rays. So they also have different tendencies or, proclivities or so on. So that can play a role also. For example, if you are aware, now the moon obviously also has an energy body. The moon is also an energy transformer. But we know that when there is full moon, emotional energies get affected more than physical energies. Yes, are you aware of that? It seems that the moon, when it transforms, it emphasizes the emotional energy or the emotional part of the energy. So, just to summarize, what we are seeing here is that the great spiritual beings, the great gurus, their disciples also are able, they absorb higher energies, blessings, teachings, and step it down to the level we can handle. For example, knowledge, spiritual knowledge, they make spiritual truths easier for us to understand. They give us practices that make it easier for us to develop spiritually. They make it practical, they make it easy. Like, for example, character development, it's not easy to develop character, but master has made it easy by giving us techniques. He's given us the technique of the inner reflection, firm resolution. Correct? He's given us the technique of the blue triangle, if you have learned that. So these things, make it, he's like stepping it down. He's making it easier, making it practical for us. Otherwise, what should I say? The very refined form, the original and unrefined, the untransformed form is difficult for us to digest. We don't have that ability. All right. I think we'll end here today and continue from this the next time.